Sometimes things go wrong without a sound, no alarms, no error messages, no smoke. The system seems fine, but deep down, a quiet imbalance has started. It's a feeling, a subtle shift that tells you something is off, even when all the lights are green. What if an automation could have that same intuition? What if it could sense trouble before anyone even knows to look for it? This isn't about catching things that break. It's about noticing when the rhythm of a system changes. It's the moment before the crisis where the only sign is a strange, unsettling quiet. This is the story of an automation that listens to the silence. As humans, we're conditioned to react to loud signals. We wait for the server to crash, the customer to complain, or the error log to fill up. Our brains are wired for clear, obvious threats, but subtle shifts, they're practically invisible to us. Think about it. We're emotional, we get distracted, we have biases. We might dismiss a small anomaly as a one-time fluke or get so caught up in a meeting that we miss a gradual slowdown in data processing. We see a system that's still running and assume everything is okay. But a machine doesn't have emotions, it doesn't get distracted or have a bad day. It's not looking for a reason to ignore a tiny deviation from the norm. While we're waiting for the fire alarm, the system is noticing that the air just got a little warmer. This is where human intuition fails and a different kind of awareness is needed. We are blind to the slow, quiet decay of a system's health because we are programmed to look for explosions, not whispers. So, how can a machine see what we can't? The secret lies in a concept I call flow awareness. Forget about watching for specific outcomes like did task X complete successfully. Instead, imagine a system that watches the movement of data itself. It's like watching a river. You don't just check if the water reaches the sea. You watch the current, the speed, the volume, and the rhythm. Is the flow smooth and consistent, or is it becoming erratic and choppy? In the world of data, this flow is everything. When the normal flow of events changes, it's a powerful signal that something is wrong, even if every individual task is still technically succeeding. If data that usually arrives every second starts arriving every 1.2 seconds, a human would never notice. But a system built on flow awareness sees it instantly. This isn't about catching failures. It's about detecting changes in the system's heartbeat. This is the foundation of quiet detection, sensing problems not through what happens, but through how it happens. This is where a tool like Node-RED comes in. Imagine a digital brain, a visual workspace where you don't write code, but instead you connect nodes and wires to map out logic. Node-RED is a flow-based programming tool, and it's perfect for building this kind of silent observer. It's not designed to execute a rigid list of commands. Instead, it's built to listen. You can connect it to dozens of different data sources, your website traffic, your smart home sensors, your factory's production line, your application logs. Each piece of data becomes a message flowing through a network of nodes. Node-RED just watches these flows. It doesn't need to be told if this error happens, send an alert. Instead, it learns the normal rhythm, the normal timing, the normal sequence of events. It observes completely passively until the pattern shifts. It's an automation brain that works not by command, but by perception. So, what is this system actually watching? It's looking at the signals that humans almost always ignore, the noise in the data. For example, it might be watching for a decrease in the number of events. If your e-commerce site normally gets 10 orders a minute, but for the last 20 minutes it's only been getting 6, that's a signal. Nothing is broken, but the flow has changed. It could be watching for delays between actions. Maybe step 1 of a process and step 2 of a process are both completing, but the time between them has mysteriously increased by 300 milliseconds. A tiny, almost unnoticeable delay that could be a precursor to a major system bottleneck. It might also look for data arriving out of sequence or for repeated micro-interruptions, tiny pauses in a data stream that are too short for a person to notice. To us, this is just random noise, but to a flow-aware system like one built in Node-RED, this noise is information. It's the language of a system that's starting to struggle. Let's walk through a quiet something is wrong moment. Imagine a complex data processing pipeline. On the surface, everything looks fine. The dashboard is green, no errors are being reported, and the final output is still being generated. But inside Node-RED, the flow tells a different story. A node that measures the time between incoming data packets notices a slight but consistent increase in latency. Another node, which counts the number of messages processed per minute, registers a small but steady decline. A third node, which checks the sequence of incoming data, starts flagging a few packets arriving out of order. Each of these signals on its own is insignificant. But in Node-RED, you can wire these logic paths together. When the latency node, the count node, and the sequence node all detect a slight anomaly at the same time, their signals converge. Instead of creating an alert storm of 100 tiny, meaningless warnings, this convergence triggers a single, calm notification. System flow has deviated from baseline, no panic, no chaos. Just a quiet, early warning that something is amiss, long before it becomes a catastrophe. This is what makes this kind of automation feel so intelligent. It doesn't wait for explicit instructions. A typical, rule-based system is reactive. It's told, if you see error code 500, send an email. It's waiting for a known problem. A flow-aware system is proactive. It reacts to absence as much as presence. It asks, why has the constant stream of data suddenly stopped, or why is the rhythm different? It's the difference between a smoke detector that goes off when it sees smoke and a security guard who notices that the usual night shift worker didn't show up on time. One reacts to a clear event, the other reacts to a break in the expected pattern. This is where automation starts to feel like it has intuition. It's not thinking, of course, but it's observing the world in a way that feels more holistic and aware, almost human, but without any of our human limitations. Living with this kind of system changes everything. The psychological shift is profound. You stop constantly checking dashboards. That low-level anxiety, that feeling of I wonder if everything is okay, begins to fade. Trust starts to replace vigilance. You're no longer the primary guardian of the system's health. You have a silent partner, a system watching the other systems, whose only job is to notice when the rhythm is off. This creates a sense of calm and allows you to focus your energy on building and improving, rather than constantly firefighting or worrying about what might be silently breaking. It's the ultimate form of digital peace of mind, knowing that if something starts to go wrong, you'll be the first to know, not the last. So, if this is so powerful, why doesn't everyone build systems like this? I think it is because most people have a very specific idea of what automation is supposed to look like. They expect it to be loud and obvious. They think in terms of triggers and actions, if this, then that. The idea of an automation that does nothing most of the time, that just silently watches, feels counterintuitive. We're taught to believe that for an automation to be valuable, something has to break first. We also vastly underestimate the power of visual, flow-based logic tools like Node-RED, dismissing them as too simple for serious work. But the truth is, quiet systems don't get the attention they deserve because when they're working perfectly, nothing happens. They only get noticed in the one moment they save everything by whispering a warning that no one else could hear. The most powerful automations aren't the ones that follow our commands. They're the ones that don't wait to be told. They are built for awareness without needing our constant attention. They don't just look for broken parts, they sense the imbalance in the whole. They notice the subtle changes in flow, the shifts in rhythm, and they act before anyone even knows to ask. Thank you for watching. Welcome to Systems That Whisper.